Another component that makes this whole process difficult is academically and within the schools, the need to classify. Essentially, classifications become labels. And whether your child gets into school and is labeled as having a learning problem or dyslexia or ADD or ADHD, or even gets the, the terrible label of average, right? All the labels limit. Okay? Because the perspective attached to every one of them is based on limitations. Go into any exceptional psych book or book for those in special education, and you look up any label, and what it's going to tell you are the limitations of those individuals with those labels. Well, guess what? If your perception is that, you're going to provide the opportunities based on that, and that's what you're going to achieve. Someone once said something I think was very significant. They said, what cannot be solved is named. Once named, it does not seem to need a solution. Now think about that for a second. Imagine you have an 8-year-old in 3rd grade who was perceived as smart and normal. And imagine your 3rd grader is having difficulty with reading. Hopefully, with that perception, the teacher, the school, is attempting to find a way to help your child learn how to read. Because the perception is your child is normal, he's smart, should be able to read. One thing can change that, and sadly typically does, and that is if somebody will say, well, maybe we should evaluate the child relative to why they're not reading. They do a comprehensive evaluation. At the end of the evaluation, they determine your child is dyslexic. Well, that changes the whole thing, okay? Let's stop working so hard to teach him to read because he's dyslexic, he can't read. All the term dyslexia means is reading difficulty. Right? There's no such disease. Okay? But once a child is perceived as having the disease, they're virtually perceived as having an incurable disease. And that is pretty much true of all the labels associated with learning and behavior and attention. Okay? They're symptomatic labels. They're identification of symptom. They're not identification of where the issues are or what's broken. And once the label is given, then they do not look to discover what is in fact broken. As parents, your job is to find out what's broken and work to address it and work to fix it.